Hey everyone, Amanda here with Americana Gardens, and today I'm doing a June garden tour. This is the full tour of the yard as is, and I'm really excited to show you guys what's blooming. So I'm going to start up here. This is a mostly partial shade garden, and then I'll bring you around the rest of the gardens. Okay, so this location will probably look familiar to some people. I made a partial shade garden tour, and that's like my second most popular video that I did. So thank you for those who watched it. But the gazebo is actually not the entrance that I'm going to use today. It's the exit. And the entrance is actually right along here. So we'll see what's blooming over here. Okay, first we have these. This is a verbascum, a mullein. And I ordered maybe like 20 seeds, probably like 3 years ago by now. And only 5 of those actually germinated in the cells that I started with. I have terrible luck starting things inside. I just don't have the right conditions for it. But as you can see, they just multiplied. I have them in several other areas of my yard, and I plan to continue using them throughout the yard. But these are a pollinator attractor. Bees in the early morning are usually just all over this. And these are very drought tolerant, very hardy, and they branch out, as you can see this one is doing. So you'll have multiple branches on one plant. Some nicotina that is planted here. Ooh, sorry for the harsh sunlight here, or shades. Some salvia that actually needs to be, I'm not going to trim it yet, but this is a lavender and I need to give the lavender some more space. But look at this bleeding heart, like it's still blooming. Like those are fresh blooms right there. Look how beautiful that is. I guess I could spend some time deadheading or cutting off the spent ones. Some sedum tucked in there. This is an evergreen, an azalea. And also, I don't know what this is. This is not what we planted. It looks like, let me see if I can get a close-up. If anybody can identify this, this will be great. The pollinators love it. It looks like a type of salvia. Peonies need to be deadheaded. But look at these glorious blooms right here. Look at these lilies. They just add such a nice bright spot. Very charming. And, oh, this is the vegetable garden. We'll go through this, but I planted these sweet pea seeds back in March. And look how they did. I wasn't too sure because they were in a pot, and you know, I really didn't do any fertilizer or anything like that with it. But these are lovely, and the more you cut them, the more they bloom. So some of my friends are going to be getting some bouquets. Look at this hydrangea. I still didn't cut it. Like, I wanted to cut out some of the shoots, but it's so glorious, it's hard to cut it. But I will have to, because I want to like start making some bouquets and stuff. And this fern, Japanese fern, is doing wonderful here. And also some of the spring plants that I planted. Right here. This is a primrose from not primrose, an impatient from Proven Winners. And it still has buds on it, and it's still blooming, and it looks so healthy, and I love it. I think I had one, yeah, I had one tucked in under here. I'll probably need to relocate that. Yeah, definitely. This is just a wild, well, a self-seeded echinacea. And look at this fern right next to it. Like this fern here is as high as my hip. Can y'all see that? This area was actually in more shade. As you can see, we had like a huge maple and half of it was cut away because one of the larger branches fell out. This is actually not our maple tree, it is a neighbor's, but it had such dense shade back here that I don't think that it was like really healthy for most of the plants, but since it's getting a little more daylight, it's really caused this like place to bloom. The bees just love whatever is on whatever this plant is. Let's see here. There's also some Monardia here. Beautiful color. This bush is just so huge. Oh, and I love this like color right here. This mixture of plants is wonderful. There's a spirea here. It already bloomed these pretty little pink blooms, but I like the different colors. Like the new growth has more of a red tinge, yellow tinge, and then more green on the inside. So it's like a multi-dimensional plant. And this heuchera is doing absolutely wonderful. And this is a milk and honey astilbe. This is doing wonderful as well. Look at that. It has a very light tinge of pink to it. These get huge too. I bought this for my mom. They were on clearance like 2 years ago. So glad I did. And I have another one on the opposite side of the irises here. Some Brennera still standing strong. This is a hydrangea, a mophead hydrangea. It's not blooming. None of them are yet in my garden, but they will be. And there is a yellow rose tucked back here, which I desperately need to dig up and move to my rose garden. This is a hydrangea on standard, limelight. Ooh, ooh, there's a little bloom, I see it. It's starting. Let's see. Oh, that's so exciting. This is a lobelia ground cover. I got one of the first things I bought this year, and it really spread out, and I love the multiple colors on it. It's great. We also have some echinacea that will be opening. Some phlox in the back, but it's still closed, or it's not blooming yet. Oh, and here's some more of the spirea. It's the same plant that I showed you earlier, but it still has some blooms on it. There we go. See those? Those are so pretty. Alright, we're walking through the gazebo area now. Have another hydrangea on standard over there. This area needs some annuals. There's no color. This is actually my portion of the garden, so I need to get with it. Alright, so we're just going to walk on the opposite end of where that partial shade garden was to this garden down here. I call it the crescent garden because I have the edging shaped like a crescent moon, but anyway, let's go down there. It's nice that this is in more of a shaded area. Easier to see the plant details. We have some lilies that bloom like a salmon color, ready to pop. Irises that are already spent, but I like to keep that, you know, it keeps the weeds down. I don't want to cut them yet. But look at these grasses. I love the movement that they give in this space. And they also add some privacy too. There's actually two bushes I need to plant properly. A burning bush, and then I also have this one over here. And I need to get those in the ground ASAP. So if we walk back here, there's one of my climbing roses. I'm going to get a proper trellis for it and have it go alongside the house here. Just add some color. It's very like stark over here. It's mostly all white. There's no windows on this side of the house, so adding some color I think will be really great. Have a bench here. But alright, here are some pots that I actually planted up a few weeks ago. This is lantana. It's out of bloom, but it will come back. Also some zinnias. Now these are like the smaller versions, so only get like around this high. But in some portulaca, it's just out of bloom right now. But look at this delphinium. That is my favorite color, delphinium. And I'm sorry for the noise, guys. As you can tell, like there's a main street down there and it's very loud with traffic. So I apologize about that. I have these white delphiniums in here. That one bloomed out, but this is also a hyssop that will start blooming. I have these. Look how delicate that looks. So pretty. Okay, so right up there we have a ugly propane tank, and if any of you guys know, you really can't do much about it. I see people get like rocks and they kind of hide it. I did hiding with plants. There's these beautiful echinaceas. Oh, look at that. Just to try and hide it. Actually, up there we have the row of peonies and some more echinaceas. This is more Monardia. I planted some annuals down here as well, like salvia and also this yellow flower. Oh, this is a volunteer. This is a volunteer. Look at this. This is so lovely. Look how many blooms there are on this yet to come. This is a hollyhock. It's a beautiful soft yellow. So I just let that one go. I wasn't going to pull it up. Some more echinaceas. Some annuals I tucked in. This is a butterfly bush. It has yet to fully bloom, but it's opening up little by little. Yeah, so give it another day or so and this bush will really open up. And here I just used some annuals that I had left over. Both sides here I have a strawberry panicle hydrangea, strawberry vanilla, excuse me. Putting on some buds here. Some peonies. These are the Sarah Bernhardt peonies, and I tell you what, they really hold up. Like, I have no staking system around them, and they don't get like any like disease on their leaves like the older ones that we have in the yard, so I'm very happy with that. Here's another butterfly bush. As you can see, it is stretching for daylight because it is surrounded by these volunteer sunflowers, and I just kept them there. You know, kind of shades the wall here, or hides it. And there are some heads forming on these sunflowers, so they will be opening up shortly too. That's okay. I like surprises in the garden. Another strawberry vanilla hydrangea, just some annuals tucked in. This little pathway area here, it's so sweet. But I think there was a cat in here playing around because I see that some of my stuff has separated. But here we have some purple Veronicas, and I'm starting to favor Veronicas more than I am salvias. I think they hold their blooms longer, and yeah, they're pretty wonderful. I also have this Annabelle hydrangea behind here, and of course with the butterfly bush. These colors work together. I wasn't too crazy about the orange, but again, I want my garden to be beneficial to insects that need to, or insects, you know, butterflies and stuff that need help. This is really pretty. I like it. I have another Sarah Bernhardt peony here. See, it's just like holding itself. It must have a lot harder stems. And also I have these rose bushes on both sides here. They're small because I really trimmed them hard, but they'll be blooming big and tall by the end of the year. And of course I have this lovely red bud tree here with the dark foliage. We already have a little tinge of red on the burning bushes. These are actually deemed invasive now in Pennsylvania, so I might have to dig them up. Also, look how huge this is. Another bleeding heart, but it's like the more like traditional bleeding hearts, it actually looks like a heart itself. And it has like the light pink with the white in it, but the foliage still looks great, so that's why I'm keeping it up. I'm not sure I want to divide it because I like the size that it provides right here. Another limelight hydrangea. I did a wonderful prune job on this. I'm tooting my own horn here, but I was very happy with how it came about. And actually underneath this is some hostas, some ferns, another Japanese fern here. So I like to tuck some things in that I could get away with shades. And just right above this, this is actually invasive. This is, oh geez, you know what, I'll put the name on the screen because it's evading me right now, but this is actually invasive. I pulled a lot of it out, but you know, next year there's gonna be a lot more. So, but they're so pretty. And the bees love it. Like, it's hard to pull it out. It's so pretty. It has a wild look, like right on top of this wall here. Alright, so we just got some like leftover spring blooms. This is my tractor. I love my tractor here. So rustic. Has a neat feel. But I think I'll have to add some more color up here. Now that I pulled out some of these invasive plants, there's some space for me to do some things. Here we have some Rebecca. You can see it's budding up. That's a wild one. We just keep it there. I never pull it up. It's just there. It's the only one. Another hydrangea up top there that will be blooming. Ah, some shade. Finally. So this is actually a new area. It's my pond area. I have barrel ponds in here. One is only currently with water, the two are with soil, but next year that's going to change and I'm really going to experiment more with water plants in this area. This plant right here is amazing. Oh, look, there's like some morning dew still left on it. I don't know if you guys can see that really well. But if you touch this plant, it's fuzzy and it smells like lemon and lime. Like, how wonderful is that? I did a tour of this area once I completed everything, and I'll put a link down below with this. So the plants that are in the water here, I have water lettuce, I have a water hyacinth that will bloom. I also have a coleus back here. Looks pretty gnarly. And this was a yellow blooming canna. Of course, over here I have more of the soil plants. This is actually like a baby tut, and this can be in water as well. I have a bacopa, but it's out of bloom for the water, but I have one right here in the soil as well that is blooming, as you can see. I have a Japanese maple right there. This one will be dug up, and I have another one to replace it. Let's see here. Actually, I didn't take the correct path. I tend to just like step up from this rock wall area and step up and go it, but there's actually a path I made. It's right here. Actually flanked by these penstemons here. They're out of bloom, but they'll be lovely next year. They are transplanted. But oh, look at this. I got this astilbe last year. I started it from a bulb, and look how gorgeous that is. Ah, it's like it starts more like pink on the interior, and then it blooms more purple on the exterior of the petals. Very neat. And this is a grass called oak grass, and some people say it's like very strong and not invasive, but just like it can really spread. I don't have a problem with it. You can see it's starting to get its seed heads, and it's lovely in the fall. This area back here will need some work, just, you know, removing the grass and planting new things. I will keep some grasses in there though. I guess on the trellises there are climbing roses, but they're very young, so nothing to really show yet. Alright, and actually here's little Noelle's garden. I had my niece over and we did a garden together. Everything's looking pretty good. Noelle, you will be happy. Some more things will be blooming, like these snapdragons again. Begonias are doing good. Impatiens. The Veronica is about to be out of bloom, but I can cut that back and it will re-bloom again. Yeah, looking pretty good. It was fun to do. And just right behind her garden, there's a white fence where I have some plantings. I put 2 crabapple trees in here, and some of the branches got damaged, but I think that's like when I stored it in my car to transport it. So, but they're doing well overall. So what's going to happen in this area is that this whole garden, because I planted the trees here, this whole garden is going to come out and circle around this one. And this one will expand in time because the tree is going to grow wider and wider. So all of these plants will be moving out more so they can get more sun and let these crab apples grow. Alright, actually right over here against the house I have a hydrangea that needs to be staked up. It's looking a little crooked. That's the thing with hydrangeas on standards. They have such a thin trunk, if you will. And then you have all this foliage on the top, and it's just too heavy for the plant. So I need to get a better staking system here. But I'm going to cover this whole area in succulents. All this white gravel. I mean, as you can see, I'm starting to work on it. Boxwood hedges looking good. I just need to trim them again, but that's not going to happen until the fall. Also, here's some more hydrangeas on standard. Now they have a good staking system. Yeah, these are so lovely. The lace caps, yeah, so lovely. Oh, hello, Mr. Hornet. Now, this is all like weeded grass and everything down here, but again, I'm not worried about it. The reason being is that I know that this will be expanding in the fall, and that's when I'm going to come in with mulch and more plants and stuff. So it can be a really nice area, and I'm just counting on losing more and more grass over here. Less to mow, but more to weed, but that's okay. We're gonna go up through this trellis and through the rose garden. I have this trellis covered with clematis. It's out of bloom, but like I love how gnarly this the seed heads are. Actually over here, yeah, this is more in shade, so, but I just love that gnarly Dr. Seuss type of vibe to it, so I leave them. They'll bloom again in the fall as well. And over here you can see the barrel pond area. This is a crabapple tree. Has some rust on it. I gotta put some copper in here to help with this. Yeah, Definitely need some copper. Liquid copper is the best thing, the best solution for nearly everything. And I picked up, well, actually Tom and I, we found this log, and I was like, oh, I want this in my garden, this driftwood here. And I put it in there to help like guide the path of the garden, but also to hold up some more soil so I can make more of like, it looks like a shelf more or less, or a natural bank. Oh, these are gone. Yeah, the rose garden isn't in bloom really, but you can see this was a drift flower rose. Oh, this is really pretty. And you know what? Drift roses are they're the workhorses, if you will. Got some lavender blooming over here. This is so lovely. I love lavender. I don't see any peaches on my tree yet, or any signs of any. There's a dwarf peach tree here. Now here is more of a rose that has really taken off. It's doing lovely, but that's what I have on these trellises here. Again, I'll do a tour when this is in bloom again, so you guys can see everything. And in between each trellis, I have a butterfly bush. Look how ginormous this hydrangea is. This is a limelight hydrangea. There's no buds on it yet, but I really love this. This is like the centerpiece. When you come in from the trellis area, like you're going to have this lovely rose here when it's in bloom, but then you also have this hydrangea here with the roses in the back when they're, you know, in bloom. It's gonna be lovely. Here I have my work of art. I got this at a yard sale, and like it's just such a unique piece. Like this is the only one that's available. Like somebody handmade this, so it's unique, and I really wanted it. And this is planted with portulaca. Last year I did different types of sedums, but this is like a lovely yellow portulaca in here. And at the very bottom you can see I actually have remnants of some of the sedums. They are doing well. Like the soil level is literally only like the size of my finger right there, and they're just loving life. I think I will try to replicate that down on these things somehow. But the portulaca in here is doing lovely. Let me show you the flower color of that. I love it. So over on this side we have some hyssop that will be blooming shortly. Some more roses. This was a transplant. It's not happy with me. I cut a lot out. But you know, they're pretty durable. They're from heirloom roses, and they are very durable. This is another drift rose. Let's see here. I wish the color would pick up more. It's more of like an apricot, pink, peachy color, and it's wonderful. Over here, I actually have some roses tucked in too. Like, let's see. Can you see any of that? So these are about to bloom. I got to put more copper on these plants. Copper really helps with rust, like on roses and whatnot. And this one here, the fragrance. Like roses need fragrance. I hate roses that don't have any fragrance to them. It's like, I hate when they like, you know, they bred these and they just, oh, we're not going to do any scents to these. It's like, why? Here are some baskets that I got on clearance, and they're bouncing back. I still got a deadhead a little bit here, but they're doing pretty good. They're bouncing back. I have my little Café de Flore theme going on here. I just have these sake cups in here. I think I did a tour of this. No, I didn't. But I got like these sake cups in here, and there's some, you know, some succulents in there. There's another hanging basket over on this side. This is another climbing rose, but this is more older. And I didn't move it this year. So I'm going to be training that around the items on this fence here. Really neat. And as you can see, I have areas dug to put my trellis up. So I'll be painting the trellis, and I got the cement ready to go, got the rocks ready to go, and I mean, it's gonna be lovely having this trellis area right here. It's gonna welcome you down into like the rose garden area. Over here I have my hammock, which I love laying out in the summer. It's just, or you know, I pretty much put it away when it's like 40 degrees. I love hanging out on it so much. Have some of these plants hanging here to add some color. These will need to be a little deadheaded too, but I have these bird feeders, but I do not feed birds in the summer. Why? Because I got a yard full of insects and bugs and everything else that they could feed on. So if anything, I could discourage you guys from actually feeding birds in the summer. You don't need to do that. I have some more volunteer sunflowers coming up, but these are the smaller ones. These are like only 2 feet tall at best, and that's okay. They're just right in this section, and that's fine. They kind of hug this plant here, and they're all budded up, so they will be blooming soon. Some more hydrangeas, transplant roses, another sunflower, but this one doesn't need to be there. And I have this is the transplant, and I cut it down hard too. This is a lace elderberry. So I really want to like cover the house that's next to the property here, and this will definitely do it in time. Actually next year. So it's just not happy with me that I transplanted it. It doesn't really grow a whole lot the first year, or the first year that you transplant and such things. Now here we have some Veronica with the roses, and then the hydrangeas right there. It's a pretty combination, very soft. As you can see, I still did not pull up all of my tulips. Here, let me get that. The spent ones anyway. What harm does it do? Oh, hello, kitty. Bye, kitty. Okay, so we're gonna walk over here. This is an evergreen tree that I totally butchered. It was pretty much dead. So there's still some like larger twigs I'm going to cut out, but some of it is actually growing back. So I'm just going to see what kind of shape it takes on, because I really don't want to lose this tree. It's so hard to find these. Back here I planted some cosmos, some salvias. So they'll like bush up and do really nicely. Got some strawberries in the front here, blooming away. And I just love these Johnny jump ups. Like, I don't, you know, like obviously the grass is cut and, you know, things are weed whacked and stuff, but I'm glad that like we just keep this here. They're so cute and pretty. And here again is my mom's veggie garden, and down there is the shade garden that we started in. So all of these came up really nicely in my pots. Very happy for that. I'm going to have to deadhead. I mean, look, they're already forming seeds, and you know, no, I want more blooms. So I'm gonna have to be trimming some of those. So back over here, let's see, I got one apple. I got one apple. So this is an apple tree here. I'm actually going to have to get a watering like canister, if you will, just to put around the base of this apple tree, because I really want to keep it watered and healthy so it can produce more apples, of course. Oh, I got a weed. I didn't even see how bad that got. Walking up the driveway, we have some hydrangeas on standard. So I only have 3 of these hanging pots up here. I put these ready refills in them, and they did wonderfully. It's just I have 6 hangers. I only had 5 of the same flowers. So I'm actually going to pop these in the ground somewhere and let them bloom in the ground. And I'm just going to get maybe like a yellow bright flower to hang in the baskets. Look how huge these hostas are. So cool. So cool. Got some hydrangea mop heads on this side. Oh yeah, look how pretty this is. I have the lamb's ear here. I'm gonna let them bloom. Doesn't bother me. Have the snine bark. It's out of bloom, but I love the dark foliage still. Have some annuals tucked in on the ground. And this is more of that verbasum. See the bees are just on it, not the honeybees, but, and also this is something I'm just going to continue with. This is a bird bath with succulents, and I'm just going to keep them like that. I actually have to tie these together, but whew, is that a pollinator attractor or what? And look at this lavender. This is the lavender. That I cut back in a video. Again, I'll link all these videos that I mentioned down below. And it's just, it did wonderfully. Like, very happy with it. If I just sit here in silence, I could just hear the bees buzzing everywhere. Some more verbasum. This is Russian sage behind it. Has not bloomed yet. Oh yeah, and these are the daisies. They're just like a wild daisy. They're tall and they're pretty, cheerful. So I don't mind leaving them up. All right, here's some straw flower that I should be cutting back. Can't do it with my fingernails. I have none. But yeah, that's another garden chore to do. Some Gumfrina, gorgeous color. And I have a balloon flower back here that is just starting to open up. What the heck is that thing? What is that thing? Are you guys seeing that? That big brown thing? What is that? Holy moly. I don't know, I hope it's good. Let's see here. Oh, what is that? Okay. Anyway, here's some balloon flowers. This one's ready to pop. Here is some echinaceas. And this I have to stake. It's a shame I have to stake this. It really flops. Smoke bush in the back here. I had to really cut that down because it lost a lot during this late spring freeze that we had. Some lilies that are about to pop open. Another sunflower. And a weed that I really don't need in there. Some Monarda. See, the Veronica is just great. Veronica's good. So. And I also have sunflowers up here growing back again from last year. I also have some sunflowers tucked in behind that smoke bush, and I'm just gonna let them do their thing. Okay, so I'm out on my front porch here, and I'm just gonna show you what I did in some of the hanging the hanging baskets, and also the pots. Again, I live on Main Street, so if a car passes by, I really can't help that. So hopefully it'll work for you guys. These 2 pots I just filled with annuals, except for the Russian sage here. Now the Russian sage is a perennial. It'll come back next year. Next year is all good. Portulaca. This is also some salvia. It's spent, but it was red. Yellow flower here. It's the same as like what I have in the garden. And a sunflower. So those pots just repeat. And Tom and I bought this little tea cart, and I love it. Now I sprayed it down so you know, but you could bring it out and fold it up so it's more of a table, and you could. But I love this little tea cart, and I'm going to be putting some more decor on it. So I have 3 baskets here. Each of them have this portulaca, that's the same in the blue pots, golden lemon thyme. It smells wonderful. And I also have 2 sunflowers on each side of this lavender here. And as you can see, just down below, I got some work cut out for me. This hill used to be all honeysuckle. There's still some remnants of it, but they had to dig it all up to put a new sewer line in, and the honeysuckle was ripped up. Actually, there's some hydrangeas in there. There's some stuff that I found like last year, like the hyssop, but a lot of stuff I got pulled. It's going to take time for this area to look like complete and not weeded. And I gotta put stuff in the pots. I have nothing in these pots. It's really hard because, you know what, this is like 14 hours of sunlight from morning until the very end. You could see a cat in my garden. Hello. She's moving around. But this is the view this is the view of the crescent garden from the porch here. So, pretty neat. I gotta get those dug. Put in the ground. Alright, well, thank you very much for joining in, and I hope you enjoyed the tour, and I will be doing another tour probably within like 2 weeks when the sunflowers and lilies are in bloom. So if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe, yeah, and thank you for watching. Bye.